Now let's talk real quick about video sales letter flow. So if you're going to create a video sales letter, basically a video that sells your product or service in your business, let's go over the basic flow of how you can use copy elements and kind of the order that they are. It's very similar to the core elements I already covered, and at the end of that lesson I showed you the basic flow with the arrows pointing from one thing to the next. It's very similar. Video sales letter flow is also typically similar to webinars more than long printed sales letters, but it's all kind of the same stuff. So you start with the headline and the quick summary of kind of the value or what the content is about. So it's the headline draws them in, and then you kind of hit them right away with the opener that pulls them in, that keeps them interested. Then you establish credibility. You talk about who you are, why they should listen to you or your company. That's very, very important. And then you give them useful content. A really great marketer who was a very dear friend of mine for many, many years, Jimmy D. Brown, you might have heard of him online. He came up with this great concept and phrase called useful but incomplete. It's something I always think back on and think about when I craft copy or kind of craft offers. You want to give content throughout your marketing. You want to teach. You want to give value. So even if someone goes through your marketing, they don't buy from you, they got value from you and they appreciate it and they don't feel like they just wasted their time. But you can also make your content useful but incomplete. So if you're, let's say, teaching real estate investing, you could have marketing that's giving all these tips on how they can be a better real estate investor. But if they want the full system A to Z of how to do it, then they need to buy your product. That's how it's incomplete. So the marketing is useful. You've probably seen the same thing if you've attended any kind of a webinar online about any interest that you've had, whether it's learning how to be a better marketer or learning how to lose weight or life coaching or whatever webinar you've been on, then that's typically what webinar is about. They give a lot of great content throughout the presentation, so it has a lot of value for you to even be there. And then they close with some kind of an offer, hoping that if you want kind of continuing education or more training on whatever the subject matter was, then you buy the product. So it's important that you provide useful content throughout your marketing. So the next thing is in the flow, you introduce the product or service or solution, similar to a regular sales letter. Then you give the offer details. You can put bullets in there. Then you get to that testimonials or success stories part that I talked about before. And then you use scarcity if possible. And then you reveal the price, and then any bonuses to stack the value, as they say, make it a better offer. And then, of course, offer the guarantee. It's a very similar flow as a long-form written sales letter that a video sales letter uses, that a webinar uses. There are some nuances. They can be slightly different, but overall, it's the same proven stuff that's been working for 50 years, where people wrote ads in magazines. They literally had sales letters as a full-page ad in a magazine, or they used a small ad, had someone write for more information, and then they sent them the full written sales letter. But even back then, 50 years ago, if you broke down the offer where it sold women's hats or men's boots or whatever was being sold through the mail at the time, they followed the same essential flow that copywriters today use. There are some nuances and some changes that how copy has evolved, but the essence of it and the structure of it is very, very similar. But those are some basic tips on the flow for creating a video sales letter or for creating a webinar presentation.